He's the man who conquered the United States Open for a record 5th time earlier this season, Pete Weber.
Who do you think you are? I am!
Today, PDW returns to the World Series of Bowling to team up with two-handed sensation Jason Belmonte in the Mark Roth Marshall Holman PBA Doubles Championship. But in order to collect the title, they'll have to get by a slew of PBA stars. Duke and Malott, O'Neill and Fagan, Gomez and Larson, Rash and Russell. They're all here for team competition as the World Series of Bowling rolls on from Vegas. And we welcome you inside the South Point Casino and Exhibition Hall here in Las Vegas. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson here with the Mark Roth Marshall Holman PBA Doubles Championship. And there they are, two Hall of Famers who teamed together for 3 doubles titles across their careers. Always good to see those two faces in the crowd. Match number 1, your 6th seed Weber Belmo versus your 4th seed Fagan O'Neill. The winner to move on to match 2, Gomez Larson waiting. The number 2 seed in match number 3, Malott Duke, and Ronnie Russell, Sean Rash, the number 1 seeds. There is Team Weber, Team Belmo, the U.S. Open champ on your left, two-handed sensation on your right. And the Young Guns coupled together. Fagan O'Neill, part of the Rat Pack in the PBA.
Let's take a look at the format. The players will bowl alternate frame. The 2 players will combine to form one 10-frame score. One player bowls the odd frames, the other bowls the even frames.
And up first, it'll be Team Weber Belmo. Here's how they got here. They took care of the 5 seed, Simonelli McClellan, and also the 7-seeded team of Hall of Famer to be, Jason Couch, Mike Devaney. Here is Belmo on that left lane with that two-handed style. He has had a wonderful season already. Strike to start us off. He was all strikes earlier at the World Series of Bowling in the Albee division, dropping that memorable 300 game that you and I had the opportunity to call. Magical moment. Chameleon Open, 2nd career tour title, and the 3rd at the Geico Shark Open. He has to be one of the guys in contention for PBA Player of the Year right now.
Without question. I mean, he totally has dominated the World Series of Bowling.
His good buddy Mike Fagan on the right lane leaves the 10-pin.
Going with a little air time. You see the loft on that shot? Check this out. I like that Gumby-like arm swing there, nice and loose. A little loft to keep the ball on line, leaving the half 10.
Little loft and a lot of pink.
Pink is in, Rob.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Well,
especially when you throw a little Argyle on
yeah,
there.
well, Fagan knows. You know, he's a trendsetter in the fashion world, the PBA.
He can pull it off.
Earl Anthony oil pattern, 40 feet. Main characteristic here is the oil widens.
Yeah, and it kind of lends itself to multiple angles, but as the oil pattern breaks down like we see just about every week on the tour, the players are going to jump inside to try to find more oil to keep the ball on line.
The real deal. Bill O'Neill gets them all to drop. Rookie of the Year in 05-06. Won the 2010 U.S. Open, did O'Neill. First time we're seeing him this season. Speaking of U.S. Open winners, Pete Weber in Jersey, taking on Jason Belmonte. Able to move on to the title match versus Mike Fagan. Fagan with a key strike. 10 in the pit, and the title for Weber. Got it.
That is right. I did it. That's number 5. Are you kidding me? That's right. Who do you think you are? I am.
I still don't understand that last line, but it makes me smile every time I see it and hear it.
I understand it.
You do? Who do you think you are?
I am.
I am. Here is Weber in the second. 4-7-10.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think I threw it that bad.
Ball cuts right through the nose, leaving the 4-7-10. Weber thought it was pretty good. You see him run it out like that, and kind of disbelief. And if he didn't have the shades on, we could see him giving the 4-7-10 the stink eye. He's going to try to slide the 4 into the 10.
Misses the 10, open frame in the second.
I didn't think I threw it that bad.
Just didn't look like you actually got it quite to the spot. Like you almost missed the left down lane.
Well, I was comfortable with that ball missing a little bit left.
Petey was kind of getting some coaching from Chris Schlemmer, his ball rep. Now Belmonte left lane to try to pick up his partner.
Belmo strike in the first. Ooh!
9.5.
Yeah, a resilient 10-pin.
Hard to believe that with this much power and speed, when his ball hits the pocket, hard to believe anything's left standing.
Belmo cleans that one, has the spare, and here is Jason on Life on the Road with his buddies.
You know, I room with them. We stay in houses together. We eat together all the time, and you know, and they talk to my family. You know, and without those guys in particular, it would be very difficult to come out here because you're away from your family so much of the year. You definitely need that support.
You know, when you're at the bowling center, if you see a Fagan or an O'Neill or a Belmo, one of the other guys is somewhere nearby or certainly within quick contact. Here's Fagan on the right side, a little heavy there.
Tell you what, though, you want to talk about a player that's come into his own this season. How about Mike Fagan? Winner of the Masters earlier, runner-up at the U.S. Open.
What's been different about his game?
I think it's all confidence. I think he believes in his ability now.
Nice pickup there in the third.
Come on, pick me up.
So the 4 seeds, O'Neill, Fagan, remain clean. Pete Weber with that open frame in the second. Weber, Belmo trail by 12. O'Neill's Arsenal in the fourth. Second strike for O'Neill, and the lead is about to expand. Fagan, O'Neill on top by 12. The Mark Roth, Marshall Holman Doubles Championship is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. By the USBC and its 2 million members. To find out more about USBC, log on to bowl.com today. And by AutoStop. New AutoStop is foolproof. Gray is over. Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the Mark Roth, Marshall Holman PBA Doubles Championship, coming your way from Las Vegas. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson here with you. Earlier in the week, the top 4 after qualification of the Pepsi PBA Elite Players Championship had a draft to select their partners for this tournament. Ronnie Russell, your number 1 seed, took Sean Rash. Big Nasty picked Norm Duke. Andres Gomez selecting Martin Larsen from Sweden, and your 4 seed, Mike Fagan, selecting his good buddy, Bill O'Neill. Pete Weber, 6 seed, selecting Jason Belmonte. Weber, while we were away, in the 4th, doing what he does best.
Come on, Ad.
Didn't all 10 to drop.
Better. Come on.
Belmo in the 5th. Was able to complete that and get a spare. Michael Fagan on the right. O'Neal, nothing but strikes in the second, fourth, and the sixth as well. O'Neal and Fagan discussing some strategy. Pete Weber up next. And here is Pete about bowling with the two-hander.
Going overseas now, like to Japan and Asia, there are more two-handed bowlers. Want to be like Jason Belmonte, and I think it's great because, I mean, you actually get a little more power on the ball, you create more area for yourself, and as long as it knocks 10 pins down, what's the problem with it?
I think the most intriguing thing about the two-handed style is how they're able to throw it with such velocity. Obviously, you're going to put a lot of revs on it, you're going to be able to hook it a lot, but being able to throw it at 20 miles an hour is the enigma.
Oof, 7-10.
7-10 split.
God, really? Really?
Team Belmo Weber struggling. Open frame in the second and looking at another one here, Randy, in
Really?
the sixth.
Yeah, this is just a horrible break. It's a pretty good shot here, and if anything, he should have just left the soft 10, but both the 7 and the 10 standing. Belmo and Weber, big trouble right now, halfway through, or a little more than halfway through.
Pick me up.
Have yet to string 2 strikes together, 2 open frames now. As Belmonte gets up here in the 7th frame, looking to right the ship.
Just 2 strikes thus far for this team.
All the breaks we got earlier, huh?
A little gasoline on the fire, or salt in the wound, if you will. Pocket 7-10 for Weber, stone 9 for Belmonte.
Spare for Belmo. They're down 25. Fagan O'Neal stepping up to close out the 7th. Mike Fagan leaves the 10. Fagan, your reigning Masters champion with a masterful performance earlier this season.
Well, it really was. He really had it going on mentally. Had a great picture as far as what he wanted to do with the bowling ball. You see, going with a lot of loft, keeping the ball on line and in front of him.
Yeah, baby!
And making the big shots when he had to.
Taking down Chris Barnes in the title match, no easy task. And a spare for Fagan in the 7th.
All right, set me up. Come on.
Fagan still looking for his first strike in this match. Bill O'Neal has struck every ball that he's thrown.
So far combined, these two teams just 5 strikes here as you take a look at some of the numbers from O'Neal.
That's where Fagan won his first title with Danny Wiseman.
And the run of strikes for O'Neal comes to a close.
Lots of transition going on with the oil pattern right now as the players look like they get locked in, and then all of a sudden the ball does this. At least it's not a split, but the 3-6-10, no picnic.
A nice pickup from the real deal as Weber steps up.
I move 1.
Team Belmo and Weber down 22, trying to close out the 8th, trying to tighten that gap.
Still have a possible 205. Fagan O'Neal are at 197.
Now, carry!
There's your carry. Second strike for Weber.
Who do you think you are?
I am.
Exactly. Remember the last time on this right lane, Pete Weber leaves a pocket 7-10. Not this time.
Now, carry.
Angry at those pins. Here's his partner to start the ninth. Messenger. Went right across the front door, but didn't knock.
Great shot, Jason. Great shot.
Well, it's one thing when it's you by yourself out there, but when it's a doubles competition, it's kind of double the pressure. You don't want to let your partner down. Jason throws a great shot there. He knows the score. He feels the only way that they have a chance in this match is by striking out. And another bad tap with a messenger going in front of the 10.
That was really good. Sorry, mate.
So Weber Belmo down to their last frame and down 22 pins. They need Fagan and O'Neill to provide some form of opening here. First strike for Fagan and the celebration.
Come on, get one.
Mathematically, Belmo Weber still alive, but the way this one has been going thus far, you have to say O'Neill Fagan clearly in the driver's seat.
Yeah, Bill O'Neill just needs a mark of any kind in the 10th frame, and they'll move on.
Whoa.
You're kidding.
2-10.
Hell, he makes an adjustment off the 3-6-10 he left in the 8th frame, and this ball just never moves hard enough into the pocket. Comes in light, leaves the 2-10. Bill O'Neill needs to slide this over the 2 into the 10 to win the match. If he misses this, Weber and Belmo still have a chance.
Nope. Open frame. Their first of the match. They are done at a 185.
Pete Weber needs all 3 in the 10th to tie.
The ball hooked at 15 feet and then move a couple and just have the hooks.
Remember, at the United States Open, he needed the strike on his final ball to win and beat Mike Fagan by 1. Now he needs all 3 to tie.
And there's one. 2 to go for a tie. And another for the Hall of Famer. One more to go for bonus bowling.
49 years of age, probably the best physical game the sport has ever seen, and this guy can still get it done. Pretty amazing stuff. 1 strike away from sending this to sudden death.
We're tied at 185s.
Pete Weber, ladies and gentlemen. Great shots, mate.
Right.
Said it before, I'll say it again. We always get a little hop in our step when PD Dub is on the show.
Can you try and fix that?
That's right, baby. That's Pete Weber. That's right. Pete Weber. Come on, give it up.
Who do you think you are? You're Pete Weber.
Ladies and gentlemen, by PBA rule, this tie must be decided by a one-ball sudden death roll-off. The highest seeded team, in this case, O'Neill and Fagan, will get choice of starting lane and order. Please keep in mind we're treating these teams as one player, so the player representing each team will remain on their lane. If they're tied after the first shot, we'll alternate lanes and continue the process until the tie is broken. Gentlemen, what's your choice?
I'm going to ball.
Okay. O'Neill Fagan is elected to start the tiebreak. Bill O'Neill will throw the first shot, followed by Jason Belmonte. Good luck, gentlemen.
So no hesitation at all from the real deal. Stepping up. And he is going to try and end this one in a roll-off.
Interesting strategy, because remember, the last two shots he's thrown on the left lane, 3-6-10 through the nose, and then the open frame in the 10th, the 2-10 split.
Pressure strike there, so whoever steps up, Belmo or Weber, must match it or they are done.
I'll tell you who just stepped up. This guy did. This is good stuff. You want to talk about confidence. After the last two shots he threw on that lane, to step up and throw a shot like that, that's some serious Maple moxie.
Weber dropped 3 in a row. It'll be Belmo. Must have a strike or this one is done. And that is it. Fagan, O'Neill, move on.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Good luck for the rest, boys.
Good luck, guys.
Great time.
Jason Belmonte, his effort not enough. He and Weber are done. Fagan, O'Neill move on to take on the team of Larson and Gomez when we return to Vegas. Welcome back to the South Point Bowling Center here in Las Vegas. Our continuing coverage to Mark Roth, Marshall Holman, PBA Doubles Championship. Those two, quite a tandem when they hit the lanes together in doubles. They won 3 tournaments. This their last in 1984 at the Showboat here in Las Vegas. They were the #1 seeds and they held on to it to win it. They also won in 77 and 79 in San Jose. And Randy standing by with the 2 Hall of Famers.
Wow, what an honor to be sitting in between 2 of the sport's greatest ever. Hall of Famer Marshall Holman on my left, Hall of Famer Mark Roth on my right. Mark, I'll start with you. You and Marshall put together probably the most imposing doubles teams in the history of the sport. What made you 2 so successful?
Well, we both lined up off of each other, and we both hated to lose. He showed it more than I had, but it was fun bowling with him.
Thanks, Mark. Marshall, what's your most fond memory of bowling doubles with Mark?
When Mark asked me to bowl, because I did not approach Mr. Roth. He was a superstar. I was an up-and-coming player. When Mark asked me to bowl, it took me about half a millisecond to say yes, and it was just a privilege. You know, we knew we could get it done, and then we did. It was fun.
Guys, thank you both so much. Rob?
2 great guys to be around, Randy. Take a look at the all-time PBA doubles events in history. San Jose got it going, and then a long run there in Vegas. Roth and Holman again combining for 3 doubles titles. Team Belmo and Weber done. Fagan, O'Neill move on to match number 2, where they are set to take on Andres Gomez and Martin Larsen. Larsen from Gothenburg, Sweden. Big 6'3" target, and Andres Gomez from Bogota, Colombia. So the international duo stepping up and trying to see if they can move on Fagan O'Neill in their way.
First time on television here in the States for Martin Larsen.
He bowled in 8 events last season on the tour. His best finish 6th at the PBA Scorpion Championship here in Vegas.
This guy's a real good, solid player. Another reason why the rest of the world is caught up with USA bowling right there, Martin Larsen. See that hand snap around the side of the bowling ball there. Nice speed, good rotation, a lot of power.
The singles competition here at the PBA World Series of Bowling has been dominated by the international talent. The Americans still without a victory in the singles at the World Series. Of course, Weber with the big WSOB title. There's Fagan with the strike on the right lane. And here's Fagan's partner, Bill O'Neill, on why he loves this game so much.
What brings me back to the game each and every day is the constant challenge. There's something you learn every day. This World Series has been a struggle for me. But while I was here, I was learning. You know, and this is my 7th year on tour. So, you know, you might think that at this point in my career I'd be done learning and I would just be, you know, trying to bowl as good as I can. But, you know, it's just a constant struggle, and there's always a little puzzle you have to put together each day, and that's really the challenge and what keeps me going.
O'Neill in the second. And that big strike in the roll-off in match number 1, unable to duplicate it there.
Nice profile look at Bill O'Neill's form. See how solid he hits the foul end, and unfortunately this ball went solid right through the nose, leaving the 3-9-10. I mean, even though he threw the strike in sudden death against Weber and Belmo, he's struggled the last 4 shots on this lane.
And an open frame.
Really surprised to see how much Bill has struggled at this year's World Series of Bowling. I mean, he's so good, so talented. He's proved it over and over again. 17 shows the last 3 seasons. But it's really been kind of hard to figure out just why he has struggled so much at this year's World Series of Bowling.
Andres Gomez hasn't been struggling to that degree. It's been quite a revelation the last season and a half. Seeing more and more of the Colombian. He leaves the 10-pin. One of the many, many great guys on the tour.
A great set of pipes, too. He's got that real deep voice. Sounds kind of like Sosa from Scarface. See the ball enters just a little late, leaving that 10-pin. He was looking to double up early and take advantage of O'Neill's open frame in the second.
Still seeking his first tour title. Was 4th at the TOC last season and 2nd at the Pepsi Viper Championship, and whiffs. Just as we're selling his credentials. Major error from the Colombian.
Well, it never fails. You talk somebody up and then this happens, you know. This guy's great. This guy, oops. Unfortunately, it looks like he had a little bit of approach issue there. Martin Larsen, 0 issues thus far.
Strikes in the 1st and the 3rd for the Swede.
Ball just to the right of the 4th arrow. Playing the deep inside part of the lane as the players will migrate to the left as the oil pattern breaks down. Remember the first game, Mike Fagan was lofting it. Last shot he threw on this lane, got it down on the lane pretty quick, Rob.
And another pretty quick release. Late kick of the 7.
A bit fortunate there. That could have been the big 4. Instead, it's just the 4. Ball goes a pinch high here, right through the nose. 7 goes out late. And he's like, okay, good break for us.
Cleans that one up.
Come on, set me up.
And we're all even through 3.
See what kind of adjustment Bill O'Neill makes here. If he does move farther left, maybe backs down the speed just a little bit, creates more angle.
O'Neill with an open frame in the second. Here's his effort in the 4th. And he gets them all. Fagan, O'Neill back on the strike train. Match number 2. Counter with Team Larson. Gomez coming up on the backside. The Swede, Larson, perfect. Strikes in the 1st and the 3rd. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Continuing coverage of the World Series of Bowling. While we stepped away, Gomez in the 4th. Was able to take care of that for the spare. Larson has been nothing but strikes. Had one in the 1st, the 3rd, but now an open frame in the 5th. The opposition, Mike Fagan, getting them all to drop in the 5th. His partner, Bill O'Neill, in the 6th. That's 3 in a row for that team. Lead now at 35. So Gomez and Larson trying to make up some ground here as we close out the 6th.
Time for these two to get it going if they want to continue the international dominance at the World Series.
And there's their 3rd strike of the match. And I like his strike music. I'm not going to lie, Randy.
It's kind of catchy.
It is.
Speaking of catchy, he catches all of this one at the bottom of the swing, comes into the swish zone and just kind of shreds the rack a bit.
Larson had that open frame in the 5th. Here he is in the 7th. Leaves the 9. Yes. Messenger, not enough juice to knock it down.
This is just a bad shot. Watch, he falls off balance here. Ball's left of target. Was Brooklyn hoping to trip the 9, not to be. Running out of frames.
Looking for a 4-bagger here. Fagan in the 7th.
Oh. On a 3-bagger, this is the last thing you want to see, especially when you throw it as good as Mike Fagan does. This ball's going to go high, and watch the ugly 4-9 pocket split.
Challenging shot coming up. Another challenge, the mental aspects of this game.
Mentally, it's a tough game to handle because the waves can kind of catch you and knock you over. Right now I feel like I'm on a good high. I'm bowling well. Things are kind of free in my mind, and I'm throwing the ball well. And sometimes, you can get into a little bit of a funk, and it's tough to get out of it. So mentally is really what separates the very best from the guys that are good enough physically but can't get over that next hump.
So much of this sport happens between the ears.
But I think that's the transformation we talked about in the first game and what Mike Fagan has gone through.
Oh, what a pickup.
And that's why he's able to do that.
Time now for a bare, fast, safe, pain relief replay. Oh, textbook execution.
Just a lot of belief mentally for him right now in his physical game, and I think that's what's gotten him over the hump.
Lead at 33. O'Neill trying to make it grow with the big strike there in the 8th.
Marshall likes it.
Marshall, yeah, enjoying the action. They're going to be enjoying next Sunday's activities as well. The Carmen Salvino Classic. Jason Belmonte already 2 victories at the World Series of Bowling and a 300 game. Ronnie Russell still seeking his first tour title. Oh, the Big Nasty's going to make the show. He's going to be on today's broadcast a little bit later. And Andres Gomez, the Colombian, in action as well. Speaking of Andres, here he is to close out the 8th. Much needed strike. And the music.
There's your favorite song. Nothing like having your co-host dancing next to you during a bowling telecast.
How do you know I'm dancing?
Because you're sitting right next to me.
Okay. Both teams with strikes in the 8th. Gomez Larson down 33 as we enter the foundation frame 9th.
Boy, and that was the one they wanted. That was going to get them, give them an opportunity to get back in this match. Could have struck out to still shoot 203. Now their chances very slim.
Remember in match number 1, Fagan O'Neill really had Weber and Belmo on the ropes heading into the 9th and the 10th frame. Should have put him away, but a big open frame by O'Neill in the 10th eventually forced us to go to a 1-ball roll-off. Fagan trying to close the door on Gomez Larson in the 9th, right through the nose, and this is going to be an open frame most likely. Boy, their open frames come at really bad times so far.
I think Mike really likes this off his hand, but it just breaks loose right about there. Goes through the nose. He pays the price. Last time he hit the pocket, left a 4-9 split, was able to convert.
Takes the count, leaves the 7-pin. Open frame in the 9th, lead cut to 21. A mark would end it.
If he gets 9 out, we have the possibility of another tie.
Ooh, 7 will not drop.
Stubborn 7. If he makes this, they move on. If he misses it, Rob, you and I could be here till Tuesday. Ball gets into the swish zone, nudges a 7, doesn't go down, just a spare. The game is theirs.
Down goes the 7, down goes Team Gomez Larson in your 4 seeds. Fagan O'Neill move on. Mike Fagan and his buddy Bill O'Neill. They've won 2 in a row. Can they take a 3rd? Up next, the Big Nasty, Wes Malott and Norm Duke. The Mark Roth Marshall Holman PBA Doubles Championship is brought to you by Bayer. Try Bayer Advanced Aspirin Extra Strength Pain Relief twice as fast as before. By Storm, bowlers serving bowlers. Storm is the bowler's company. By Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feature wild side. And by Ebonite, bowl to win. Back here in Las Vegas with you. We remind you to join the PBA on Facebook. Share news and photos. Click on the Facebook link over at PBA.com. Fagan O'Neill took match number 1 in a roll-off. Then they dispatched Gomez and Larson. Up next, Malott and Duke. The 4 seeds versus the 2 seeds here in match number 3.
You know, maybe Jack Links can get together with Wes Malott
Little Sasquatch?
Messing with Sasquatch,
Yeah, don't mess with the Big Nasty.
Hey, no, change the name from Big Nasty to Sasquatch. I got to get a percentage of that.
It's going to be a small percentage, I have a feeling. So Duke and Malott will sit down and watch their opposition fire it up here in the semifinals. O'Neal batting leadoff on the left lane. O'Neal been carrying the strike load for this team so far today. And there's his 8th strike of the day.
Well, he's starting to move farther and farther left, and he's now finding a home, keeping that hand underneath that bowling ball, rolling it real nice.
First time we've seen the Big Nasty this season. Here is Malott. Classic Wes.
Come on, brother.
Boy, there couldn't be a bigger difference in height on this team, could there?
No. No, sir, at all. Norm Duke. Title number 35 earned earlier this season, the PBA Detroit Open. Highlights courtesy of PBA's Extra Frame. Taking on the Big Fin, Mika Koivu-Niemi, in the championship match. Oh, the trademark. Duke hot.
And more nightmares for Mika Koivu-Niemi, courtesy of Norm Duke.
The native of Claremont, Florida.
Oh, and welcome to the telecast, Mr. Duke.
Here is Mr. Duke on his partner, that guy, Wes Malott.
The Big Nasty Wes Malott. I love him. We work together 2 or 3 times a year in some clinics and exhibitions and stuff, and he is just such an angel. I like his family, and of course, the bowling, goes without saying. He's an awesome, awesome bowler. But what I like the most about Wes is that he is just as down to earth as anybody I've ever met. I love him.
Pretty high praise there from Norm as he cleans that one up in the second.
Pretty high praise indeed.
Fagan stepping up here in the second. His partner Bill O'Neal with a strike to open us up in the first.
And I think the scores are going to step up this game, Rob. Low scores the first couple of matches. I think the oil pattern's starting to settle down. The players are moving in. I think the lanes are getting better.
Still haven't seen a 200 game yet today. Fagan O'Neal, though, perfect through the opening 2.
Like Fagan right around the 24th board. Significantly left of where he started way back in game 1.
Oh, the late kick, and 3 in a row for Fagan O'Neal.
Get that balance there at the foul line. Solid 9, pin comes off the sidewall, nudges the 9 over. O'Neal likes it, and I guarantee you his partner likes it. Yeah, right there.
Wes Malott stepping up. 10th year on the tour, 6 tour titles to his credit. And a strike for the Big Nasty. And here is Wes on his parents' relationship with his sport.
That's all you can do. Come on.
My parents split at a very young age. And, so one weekend my mom would take me. The next weekend my dad would take me. And so it was back and forth. I never really had one. Like I said, both of them were busy and didn't have the chance to travel with me. They understand the game, but I don't think they understand the game at the level that I play it. I know they're very proud of me, and that's what matters the most, and we take that and run with it.
Norm Duke playing a part of the lane that only Norm can play. You notice all the other power players are playing way inside. Norm Duke has taken that nice straight road, that dead hand at the bottom of the swing, and throwing it straight up around second arrow.
Spare for Duke. So they've gone strike, spare. O'Neill, Fagan have been flawless thus far. Trying to move on to the title match. The conclusion of our semifinals when we return to Las Vegas. Welcome back to Las Vegas, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Bowling Center, the location. While we were away, Mike Fagan with his effort. And another strike for Team O'Neill and Fagan. In the fifth, it kept on going. 5 in a row to start this match off. Speaking of 5, in the fifth, Wes Malott starting a strike streak. Getting that one to drop. His partner Norm Duke complimented it in the sixth. So their first pair of strikes in this match. Fagan, O'Neill on top by 30, set to close out the sixth. Looking for 6 in a row to start this one off. Six in a row for Fagan and O'Neill. Fagan won his first tour title in a doubles event. He was partnered with Danny Wiseman. They won the PBA Exempt Doubles Classic in Las Vegas during the 07-08 season. Mike would get a singles title a little bit later. Partner O'Neill trying to make it 7 in a row. And the streak comes to an end. And this may be an open frame here.
Come on, give it a run. Give it a run.
Looked like a bad shot, like he got it in with a lot of speed. Not enough friction to get the ball to turn the corner.
210, a tough pickup.
Still a big lead, though, for O'Neill and Fagan. This ball catches just too much of the 2-pin. Not enough angle to throw it over into the 10. These boys right here, though, they need to get on the strike train to get back in this.
This for 3 in a row, the big nasty. Got it.
And how many times do we see great players take advantage of open frames by their opponents? It's exactly what Malott does right here. He is perfect, has done nothing but throw strikes. Now hoping Norm Duke, his partner, can do the same here in the 8th frame and cut the deficit to 6.
Great shot.
4 in a row there for Malott Duke, starting to close that gap frame by frame after that open frame from O'Neill and Fagan in the 7th. The lead has been trimmed to 6. Fagan back on the strike train there, so 7 strikes through 8 frames.
Max score for O'Neill and Fagan, 266. Max for Duke Malott, 260.
And the issues suddenly continuing here for O'Neal. Had that open frame in the 7th.
Boy, he was locked in for 3 frames. Then he goes light in the 7th and then goes high here, leaving the 3-6-10. And now O'Neal and Fagan can be shut out by Duke and Malott. Duke Malott can get up and strike out 9th and 10th and shut the door on Mike Fagan and Bill O'Neal.
Oh, great cover from the real deal. Much needed.
Got to have this one.
Five in a row.
Wow, what a comeback for this team.
One time, brother.
Have now taken the lead. Great shot here by Malott. Little half pocket. Shreds the rack. He knows the score. I guarantee his partner Norm Duke does as well. Strike at 9. They shut out O'Neal and Fagan, but he's got to have the first hit right here.
And there it is. 9 pins away from a shutout in a title meeting with the #1 seeds, Sean Rash and Ronnie Russell.
Trying to calm himself down. Not getting overly amped. Wes Malott, nothing he can do except sit and watch along with Bill O'Neal and his partner, Mike Fagan. Right now, it's all about this guy right here.
That's why we're here. How many we need?
You got enough.
Needed 9, got 10. Great start for O'Neal. Fagan. Strikes 1 through 6, but Malott, Duke, perfect once the 5th frame hit, and they take it and move on to the championship match. Duke, Malott taking on Rash, Russell when we return to Vegas. Rob Stone and Randy Peterson welcome you back to our coverage of the Mark Roth Marshall Holman PBA Doubles Championship from Las Vegas. Title match time. And here's how we got here, courtesy of the Geico Championship recap. Jason Belmonte, Pete Weber taking on Bill O'Neal, Mike Fagan in match 1.
This game ended in a tie, so Bill O'Neal gets up and strikes. Belmonte has to match it. He doesn't, goes through the nose, and Weber and Belmonte are done.
Match number 2, Larson and Gomez, the 3 seeds taking on Fagan and O'Neal. Here's O'Neal.
This match wasn't even close. Larson and Gomez never threatened as Fagan and O'Neal take the second game by 21.
Match number 3, the semifinals. Wes Malott and Norm Duke, the opposition.
Lanes heated up, and so did the scores. Fagan and O'Neal get off to a red-hot start, but it was all Duke and Malott throwing the last 8 to snap off Fagan and O'Neal.
And they won it 260 to 246. So Duke Malott off to the championship match to take on your #1 seeds. And Ronnie Russell, remember, was the overall #1 seed for qualifying. He picked Sean Rash as his partner, so Russell and Rash teaming up as Ronnie looks for his first ever PBA Tour title. It'll be Norm Duke stepping up, and now Randy, your Alka-Seltzer, keys to victory.
Well, for Duke Malott, just keep doing what Norm did in the 10th, and that's throw a lot of strikes. For Rash and Russell, well, just follow Rash's lead. He's had a very successful World Series of bowling.
4 tour titles for Sean Rash, unable to add to that total at the World Series of bowling, though he's made numerous shows. Here is Duke to start us off in our title match.
And the international dominance will come to an end here at this doubles event. Guaranteed to have an American team win as Norm Duke just a pinch high going through the nose, leaving the 4-pin.
Norm takes care of the 4-pin, so an opening spare for Team Duke Malott, your number 2 seed. Sean Rash will shoot first for his team. It's been an interesting World Series of bowling for Sean Rash, making a ton of shows.
Oh, God. Did it again.
But also some big errors. A whiff at the Chameleon Open.
Oh, God.
Same tournament, right through the nose. At the Scorpion Open, at another key juncture, big 4. But he is learning from his recent mistakes.
The one thing I learned in college a long time ago is something is always positive. The hardest thing about sports, whether it's bowling, golf, mostly individual sports, is you learn more from failure than winning. Unfortunately, with a couple of the TV shows, Chuck and I made some bad decisions on game plans on starting and finishing the matches, and you learn from it.
Wheel. Well, he leaves at 2-4-10 here, just as we were showing some tough leaves and odd shots, and Sean gives us another one here to start off the championship match.
Well, we've seen a lot of this from Sean, unfortunately, at the World Series of Bowling. You could see what he's done, though. I mean, it's been a great campaign through qualifying and making television. He just hasn't been able to close the deal.
Was a high seed in so many of these tournaments, making the telecast an honor on its own, but and he only gets 1 pin there, you know. But he clearly expected to be walking out of Vegas with a lot more hardware and a lot less second and third place finishes. Here's his partner, Ronnie Russell, still seeking his first tour title. Would love to see this guy finally be able to celebrate. Leaves the 6.
They moved too far right.
This ball just never goes far enough to the right. And when you have as much power as Ronnie Russell does, you get it going that straight up the middle part of the lane. Unless there's an absolute flood of oil there, his ball has no chance of hitting the pocket. Got to create more angle through the front to give that ball a chance.
Open frame spare for Team Rash Russell. Wes Malott up next here.
All the momentum on that team side right there. Wes Malott, 3rd career doubles TV finals appearance. He knows a thing or two about bowling doubles.
He knows a thing or two about strikes as well.
Great guess. Come on.
I'll tell you, Rob, from past experience, I used to love bowling the doubles event. My partner, Tom Kreitz, who's a major championship winner, and I had more fun bowling doubles, I think, than we did in singles events.
Because?
Because you throw great shots like Wes did right there. You got a great champion waiting behind you to slap you a high five. It's a team effort.
Back-to-back jacks for Team Malott Duke. Rash with an open frame in the first. Going with the Nexus Solid and Pearl. Here he is in the third. And another brutal lead.
Can I get a break today?
8-10. Doesn't look like it thus far. See that deep inside angle? This ball just has no back end to it. Comes in light, leaving a mixing 8-10. Back-to-back open frames for Sean Rash.
Ronnie Russell with the spare in the second. somehow avoids the 10 pin. This team still without a strike.
Yeah, they only have one mark. That's the bad part.
Air ball.
Nice start.
3 open frames through 4. Russell Rash, the number 1 seed at 44.
Down 46. Malott and Duke have only thrown 3 shots. Take a look at the scoreboard. Duke, Malott already in the 200s. Rash and Russell only have 1 mark in 4 frames.
Wes in the 4th, and the 10 will stand.
See how deep the players are getting now? All that oil's been dragged down the lane and dried up in the front part of the lane, and the players have to move left to find something to get their bowling balls to push to the right as Wes converts to the 10 pin.
Malott and Duke remain clean, lead at 45 and about to be extended.
Now watch the line that Norm Duke is playing. Everybody is so far to the left, way inside, that deep inside line, and then there's Norm.
That's how he likes it.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Right up second arrow. He's got it all to himself, nobody to bother him. And there's very few people that can make it work like Norm Duke.
3 strikes, 2 spares for Malott Duke. Sean Rash, 2 open frames already from him. And their first strike here of the title match is his beautiful wife, Sarah, who's on Twitter, by the way. Were you aware of that?
I was not.
Yeah, I follow her on Twitter. Russell had that open frame in the 4th. Here he is in the 6th. Still can't pair
Trap 10, 4
a set of strikes together.
'25th board, ball doesn't push far enough to the right. Goes through the nose. It almost looks like he's afraid to get the ball to go too far to the right for fear of it not recovering. Tough when you get started like this. 2 obviously great players out here on this tour, and they get off to such a bad start. Really hard to not only recover from a mathematical standpoint, but hard to recover mentally as well.
Down 45, bottom of the 6th, it'll be Malott. Spare, or rather strike in the 2nd, spare in the 4th for the Big Nasty.
And right now, Duke and Malott just want to leave something that they can convert, avoid the open frames. Until Rash and Russell can start stringing strikes, they are in no jeopardy of losing.
All right, come on.
Again, Team Russell Rash, your number 1 seeds, only 1 strike thus far in the championship match. That came in the 5th. They have more open frames, and they do strikes. West curls that one in 3 open frames for Rash Russell.
It's all right, Haas.
And
I got it, boss.
1 strike. We are done with 6 frames. And here's how it shakes out. 45-pin lead for Malott and Duke. Another strike for the Claremont, Florida native.
Great job.
When he holds that follow through, you know you're in trouble. 35 tour titles for Norm Duke, and he's got Pete Weber on his mind.
I definitely want to catch Pete Weber in titles because I have so much respect and love for him. Pete's a great friend of mine, and that would be cool to know that over the course of your entire career you actually amassed more titles than Pete. That would be cool. And it's going to be very hard because he's still bowling and he's still winning.
Had Pete not won the U.S. Open, they would have been tied today. Rash in the 7th. Just not happening here today.
Two pin, high.
Bad ball reaction. Hard to strike when you have one. Sean's got that and then some. Goes light, he goes light, makes an adjustment, goes high. Missing spares, splitting. It's been kind of all of the above for this team. Everything but stringing strikes together. In fact, they only have one strike through 7 frames.
1 strike, 3 spares, 3 open frames.
On time.
There's their 2nd strike, and first for Russell.
Now roll. Ow.
Right at target.
This ball just doesn't make the turn up the hill. See how Malott thought it was good, but comes in light, leaving the 2-4-5-8 or the bucket. Again, right now, Duke Malott just looking to fill frames.
Oh, no.
Open frame. First of the
going there,
championship match for Malott and Duke.
Well, not what you're looking for here. Again, if they just fill frames, they can't be beat. Rash and Russell can strike out to shoot 191. Duke Malott now at 195.
Norm leaves the 9 pin.
Just make the spare, make Rash and Russell strike out 9th and 10th frame.
Spare in the 9th.
That was good.
One strike today for Sean Rash. Came in the 5th. Trying to make it interesting here down the stretch.
Go through there.
Yes!
And there's their first double.
Well, he's given his team a chance. Now it's up to Russell to get up in the 10th frame and strike out. If Ronnie Russell can double in the 10th, he'll force Wes Malott to mark in the 10th. Remember, the last time Wes was up, he opened. Got to have it.
Been that kind of championship match for those two guys, Russell and Rash. Nice cover there by Russell. He'll have one more attempt.
A wry smile on the face of Sean Rash.
I don't know what I did wrong on this
He knows
shot.
that all Wes Malott has to do is keep it on the lane.
that one gonna hook? Of course it does.
Their fourth and final strike of the match. 167. Stays on the lane, takes down 9 pins, and the title goes to Wes Malott and Norm Duke. And Norm, the gracious winner. There you go, class move. As he shakes the hands of Mark Roth and Marshall Holman. Tour title number 36 for Storm and Norman. His partner, Wes Malott, with his 7th tour title. We'll wrap things up from Vegas after this. The Mark Roth Marshall Holman PBA Doubles Championship brought to you by Alka-Seltzer Plus. Alka-Seltzer Plus liquid gels provide more complete cold relief than NyQuil. By Brunswick. Find your next ball at bowlwithbrunswick.com. By Barbazol. Start your day cool with new Arctic Chill shaving cream from Barbazol. Better by Barbazol. And by Track. Evolutionary, revolutionary. Mark Roth signing the trophy of both Norm Duke and Wes Malott. That is a valuable autograph. Mike Fagan and his partner Bill O'Neill gave it a good run. Finally fell in the semifinals to Duke and Malott. The 2 seeds then barreled through the number 1 seeds. Sean Rash and Ronnie Russell never got things going. Duke, Malott win it in Vegas. For Randy Peterson and our entire crew, I'm Rob Stone. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.